think we're live. All right, wicked team. So back at it again. Night number two, picking my top 10. This time we're going over the top 10 guys. And again, I'm back on the Heat One app. Again, if you haven't got already, go to the app store, find it. It's a lot of fun. Pick top 10 guys and girls, plus your shot callers. So who's winning each event, and you can only pick one person to win two events. So you can use one person twice. You can't stack it with Laura Horvath for every event. Honestly, thank you for the support so far. It's really, really cool to see a couple of views coming through. It really means a lot. It means that I can keep doing these videos and makes me happy, and it makes you guys happy, hopefully watching at home. So again, thank you. Don't forget, like, subscribe. If you have a comment, leave a comment. If you don't, that's cool too. All right, let's get into it. Top 10 on the Heat One app. My pick 10, I've put Sam Cornet. Now obviously he went team last year, won it with Makin, did really well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in an individual competition. I think he's going to do better than some people are saying or thinking. I think he's quite underrated, and I think he's going to have a really good showing this year. And kind of seeing the workouts that have already been released, I think are actually kind of lining up really good for him. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where he finishes. I've obviously put him in my top 10, but we'll see. All right. Number 9, I've got Sam Quant. Again, a really underrated guy. He did finish higher last year, I think, but I think there's a lot of guys this year who have really stepped up their game in terms of training and putting themselves into different camps and stuff like that. So I think he's still good enough to be at least in the top 10 in my books anyway. He could finish higher. I don't know, but let's see. I hope he does. I like him. I think he's really underrated. So yeah, he's my pick at number 9. So number 8, I've put Jason Hopper. All right. I think it wasn't a fluke that he finished in 7th last year. It was really hard to pick where to put him. I knew he was going to be in my top 10. I just didn't know where he was going to be in my top 10. So putting him in 8th, I think, is really fair. Again, potential to do better. Don't think he's going to do much worse than top 10. I think he's kind of put himself into that realm now. I think he's really making a name for himself, and especially training with HWPO, being under the guidance of Matt Fraser, and then that kind of team that he's got around him. Obviously, he's really well loved with that group and that environment, so that's really cool. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Moving on to number 7, he's the only guy in my top 10 that's been around for the last 10 years. There's 3 of them this year, and that goes BKG. I think consistently he's been in the top 10 the last few years. He's obviously been on the podium a couple of times. And I just think, as how consistent of an athlete he is, he's done the work to show that he can just make it into the top 10 consistently. He doesn't really have flashy event wins, but he does have really consistent finishes throughout the weekend. I think it's going to help him a lot. And again, with the workouts that have already been released, I think they're actually working out really well for him and team around him. He's got a really good group of individuals and team players around him that's going to help him out on the weekend. Number 6, I've chosen Dallin Pepper. I think he's one of the newer kids on the block, but I think he's got a lot of potential to go a lot higher as well. But there's still some kind of older dogs around that are still fighting. Not older dogs, but there's still some people that have been around, veterans, that are still willing to kind of make life a bit hard for him. I think one day he's going to end up on the podium. I don't think it's going to be this year. 6 is quite high for him. I understand that, but I do think he does have the potential to be there. I think if he does this year, that'll solidify him and then just kind of give him more to run with next year. And number 5, this was tough. Top 5 was hard this year. I won't lie. But in 5th, I've put Brent Fikowski. Could this be his last year? I don't know. I mean, last year wasn't so great for him. He's had some hit or miss years. He's been on the podium a couple times, but he's also been outside the top 10 a couple times. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how the weekend unfolds with him. Like, he does get better as the weekend gets on. There's been a few events that have been released that are really good for him, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes there. But yeah, I don't know. He's a mystery. Like, he can be really good, but he can also be almost outside the top 10. So we'll see. All right. Number 4, another Canadian, Jeff Adler. All right. I think I think this is going to be a good year for him. I think after showing at semifinals, he kind of put a stamp on where he was. He's like, all right, this is me. I'm here, and I loved it. I think it was really good, and I think he had a lot of potential. He could even finish higher. Like this is one of the guys I'm like, I could put you on the podium if I wanted to, but there's so many other guys out there that I'm like, man, I don't know where to go. So I put fourth. I think he could still do with a little bit of learning, maybe some like big boy competition experience, like the top three have. Um, but again, he could surprise me and get top three quite easily. Now third, a little bit controversial. I've put Roman in third, and not any higher. I think there's a couple guys out there that still kind of have a bit of a vengeance, still have a bit more in them and a bit more to prove. I don't think. I don't know. Personally, I just think maybe he might have had that year in Cookville, might have got a little complacent. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. That's just what I'm going off semifinals. That's what I'm kind of like reading from him. I mean, without actually knowing him or seeing him, that's just what I'm thinking. Second, I'll put Justin Medeiros, two-time champ, ranking champ. He's got to be on there. I think consistency that he has throughout the weekend. He's going to be on the podium no matter what. He'll fight for it. He'll do what it takes, and he's got one of the best teams behind him and coaches. Um, Number one is just more of a heartthrob pick, Pat Bellner. Um, I've always wanted him to win. He's just my favorite athlete out there at the moment. Um, yeah, that's really why I picked him. If I was being really honest and thinking about the statistics and kind of what's going into the CrossFit Games, I probably wouldn't put him there, but I just want to see him win it, and I'll stand by my pick. Wicked theme. Thank you. We're hours away now from the first event starting. Can't wait to get up at 1:30 a.m. and watch 40 minutes of cycling. It's gonna be good. Let us know how your picks go. All right. See you there.